Hi everyone, it's Sunday, August 10th, and here's the garden tour. We were away for a couple days down the shore with family, and one of my favorite things about vacation is getting to come home and see what the garden did in our absence, so this week was no exception. We're getting ready for the Middletown Grange Fair, which is next week, and tomorrow I have to drop off my produce submissions for this year. They have all sorts of different categories that you can be judged on, like produce or pies or jams or whatever. I signed up to submit 5 types of produce: garlic bulbs, cherry tomatoes, pear-shaped tomatoes, heirloom yellows, and heirloom striped. The problem with that is that my heirloom yellows and my heirloom striped are absolutely not ready. And for your submissions, you need 5 of each of these larger varieties, but just 10 of the little ones. So I'll be submitting the sun golds and the chocolate pears for sure. The 5th category is garlic bulbs, which I have inside, were harvested earlier in the summer. So yeah, a little disappointing that the tomatoes, the larger tomatoes, couldn't quite get it together this year, but yeah, maybe I'll figure it out next year. The lima beans are looking good. I pulled some test pods and I'll show you what that looks like for this week's harvest. What I was trying to remember the location of last week was where the pimento peppers are, and this is them, but they're not totally ready yet, but it still looks like a pretty nice crop of them will be growing. Our shishitos aren't working great this year. The plants did look healthy earlier, but they're kind of getting choked out from their neighbors. That's okay. We have enough other things going on here that's all right if that didn't totally work well. The green beans have started to become productive. So this is a variety called Tiger's Eye that you can eat like now as green beans, as tender little green beans, or let them dry on the plant and have them as dried beans. The carrots in the volunteer herb bed are starting to come up. This is some, probably this is like some kind of grass that was in with the chopped straw mulch. But great, we're gonna get some carrots. The birdhouse gourd vine continues expanding left and right here. We have quite a significant deer population around us, so anything that's outside the fence line gets just chewed up. So this is probably as far out as the gourd will grow this way until it figures out how to climb along the fence in this direction. Let's see if I can show you one of the plants. Here we go. So this was a female flower that was pollinated and is now growing the birdhouse gourd. So the mature plant looks like that, but bigger. And this is an example of what a male flower looks like. And here's an example of what a female flower looks like. So female on the right, male on the left. You can tell the difference because any kind of these like squash type things, the female flowers pretty much always have a miniature version of whatever the plant is attached to them, and the males don't. So you gotta get the pollen from here to here, and that's actually not something I really worry about at our house because we have a kind of a bee buffet out in the front yard, which I've never really mentioned before. But the strip of grass between the sidewalk and the street, which some people call like the devil strip or no man's land, we asked our township if we could plant stuff there, and they're like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want, but like if we have to dig it up for utility work, like we're not solving anything about it. So we're like, that's fine, who cares. So last year we planted wildflowers there, This year, some of them came back and we reseeded with more perennial deer and rabbit resistant wildflower mixes. And in the morning, there's so many bees out there that it sounds like a machine when you get close to it. Matt and I have been trying to record that sound with a nicer camera, but maybe I'll see if we can share that. The cover crop is coming up nicely in this area that we're trying to heal. The squash, like zucchini, I just cannot seem to grow. This plant is not going to work. But this kind of damage here is from a pest called a squash vine borer, and we get those quite bad at our house. Like all this yellow stuff is the poop of the caterpillar. So the adults come and they lay their eggs on, whoop, there went one. They lay their eggs on the stalk, and then the eggs hatch and the larvae burrow into the stem of the plant. And actually, maybe I'll crack this open because this plant is not going to survive. Can't see any of the larvae. They're probably further down the plant, where the plant goes from looking like that to being alive. So I don't really want to be doing this with my hands. There we go. See these gross little worms in there? Come on, focus. Oh, they're trying their best to avoid detection here. I don't blame them. See this little gross little worm climbing around in there. There he goes. Yep, there's a troublemaker. Yeah, so that's what happens to squash and kind of anything in this cucurbit family here. That's why we tried to grow the trap crop of that blue Hubbard squash out by the corn. That either trap cropped so hard that it attracted all the squash vine borers and it killed the plant, or it may have also been trampled by Bonnie. So try squash again next year. This is the harvest from this weekend, or just today really. This basket, I'll select the 10 best sun golds for the fair, the 10 best chocolate pears for the fair. The rest of what's in here is some of the volunteer Romas. Actually, that's a Martino's Roma. The only way I'm able to tell them apart is the volunteers are totally like spherical, like they're symmetrical around their axis there, and these Martino's Romas have kind of like a flat part on either side. So the Martino's Romas are a determinate variety that ripens all at once. These are some of those tiger's eye beans that I harvested. I took 2 lima bean test pods and opened them, and there's sure enough lima beans in them. This variety is called Christmas, so when they're fully mature, these areas that are a little pink right now will turn darker maroon, and that'll be a nice contrast to the white portion of the shell of the bean. So you can eat these fresh or let everything dry and then harvest dried lima beans. Some of these big honker tomatoes. Of course, none of these are the variety I submitted to the fair. Oops. They're not ripe anyway, so it's not like I would have been saved if that was a different category. I pulled 2 test ears of corn. The husk around this one had some brown spots, and it looked like it was kind of diseased anyway, or rotting somehow. So I pulled it. It didn't look like each silk got totally pollinated, but I'm happy to see that the kernels are actually, there's color to them. So the ear we showed last week, the kernels were all yellow. So at least a couple of the plants in there do appear to be glass gem. This ear looks quite a bit better. Great pollination. Declan and I already tried to bite it. It is incredibly starchy, so not ready for eating as a fresh ear of corn, But yeah, see from where I was holding it, like all the starch is just leaking out of the kernels that were broken when we tried to chew on it. Move away from the air conditioner that just turned on. Sorry. But again, there's color to these kernels, and it looks like the color seems to start at the top of the kernel and migrate down. So that's interesting. I don't understand really how the genetics of what causes these different pigments all on the same ear of corn are. Maybe I'll figure that out and report back. Yeah, so these, maybe it'll work after all. We'll see. Anyway, that's the update for this week, and I'll report back about how the Grange Fair went. Not expecting anything tremendous. Oh, wait a minute. These count as heirloom striped, those Rebel Starfighter Prime. So maybe, oh, okay, I have 2 of them. Nice. Maybe I'll take those with me tomorrow and see if they'll let me slide with 2. I don't know. Maybe the Grange Fair gods will be smiling. All right, well then there will be lots to report back around. Oh my gosh. Back about next week. And yeah, have a good week.